All right, then let's get the latest from our correspondent Kate Fisher in Washington for us. Kate, of course, those were scenes outside the South African embassy earlier today. President Ramaphosa looking very upbeat, I must say, earlier on, speaking about how South Africa will be well positioned during tomorrow's meeting. He is now locked, of course, in talks with his team of ministers. Let's talk then about the behind the scenes events, including earlier meetings held with U.S. trade representatives.
Well, yeah, as Cyril Ramaphosa just said there, it is trade, he says, that has brought him to Washington, D.C., not the really deteriorating conditions, frankly, of the relations between South Africa and the United States. South Africa, like the rest of the world, subject to Donald Trump's Liberation Day style tariffs. But also, that's one thing that needs to be negotiated. But also, President Ramaphosa will see trade deals as one of the ways to try to improve those relations generally. Donald Trump loves nothing more than a deal, especially one that makes money for the United States. And so I think that is perhaps one of the strategies that President Ramaphosa will be using in these talks with Donald Trump. He wants to make sure that he can offer the US president something and hopefully, therefore, in return, get better treatment, frankly, from the White House than has happened since Donald Trump took office again in January of this year. They'll be looking for trade in things like the automotive sector, critical minerals, energy, and perhaps also if Elon Musk, of course, Donald Trump's favorite South African, who has been a close advisor of the president, is also in any of these meetings, it could be that Mr. Ramaphosa strikes a deal with his electric vehicle maker Tesla, perhaps saying that there will be more electric charging stations in South Africa if, in return for lower tariffs on importing those Tesla vehicles. So there are lots of trade options on the table, and it's certainly going to be, I think, one of the key ways that the president tries to improve the relationship with the United States.
And I mean, it does give us a lot of comfort knowing that somehow there will be a meeting of hearts. But the deteriorating relations are the very reason why tomorrow's meeting will be a very tough one, Kate. So just give us a sense then in terms of, you mentioned Elon Musk, who might be in those meetings in the Oval Office. Who else are we likely to see with Trump? And how difficult then will it be in terms of, starting afoot, particularly when it comes to those sticky issues that speak to geopolitics?
Yeah, I think there's no doubt that this is going to be one of the toughest meetings of President Ramaphosa's career. And clearly he's had a lot of tough meetings in his long political career. He has to tread the really fine line of staying true to his principles and South Africa's principles at the same time as not angering President Donald Trump. And this is something that some of his advisors have expressed concern about. They do not want to see a repeat of what happened to the Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky back in February during his Oval Office meeting, which essentially ended up being a shouting match. Also present in that meeting was, of course, J.D. Vance, the vice president of the US, who was engaged in that dressing down of the Ukrainian leader. We don't yet know who will be sitting in on the meeting on Wednesday in the Oval Office with President Trump. We don't know which of his advisors and his cabinet will be there. But certainly Mr. Ramaphosa will be very aware of what happened last time to Ukraine is also an ally of the United States, like South Africa, but relations had got sticky, similarly to South Africa. So that he's going to have to tread a really fine line. But as a lot of people believe that with his long and storied political career, all the experience he had negotiating the end of apartheid, that he will be able to deal with Donald Trump.
All right, Kate, let's leave it there for now. Thank you so much for that update. Kate Fisher there for us in Washington.